NBA awards might get weird this year with the 65 game rule, and now that we've reached the All-Star break, let's see who should be the frontrunners. We're going to do MVP, Rookie of the Year, Most Improved Player, Sixth Man of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Coach of the Year, and even Executive of the Year. So please subscribe to my channel to help me reach the goal that I have set for 1,000 subscribers by the playoffs. And we're going to start this thing with the one that matters most, the MVP. And the MVP is a weird award this year. Nikola Jokic has missed 16 games already, and he can only miss one more game and remain award eligible. And that feels incredibly unlikely. This leaves the path for SGA to repeat as the most likely outcome and scenario, and that's what the betting odds reflect right now. He's currently second in the league in scoring at nearly 32 points per game, while shooting dangerously close to 50-40-90 with his, get this, 55-39-89 shooting splits on a team with the best record in the NBA. That said, he's currently dealing with his own injury, and he's expected to be reevaluated after the All-Star break, so I guess we'll see. I don't think there's a ton of concern that he's going to be at risk of missing 65 games from this particular injury, but I guess we also don't know. And what if he tweaks an ankle after that? You don't know. So I think if you look at it through the lens of SGA potentially missing the cut, it might actually light a fire under the league to update this minimum games policy, because other potential names like Luka, Anthony Edwards, Kawhi, they could all struggle to be eligible too. It's not impossible that this year you could have an MVP award winner that wouldn't even be voted as a top 5 finalist in a, call it, normal season. To be fair, I personally appreciate the spirit of the rule. You do want to incentivize stars to play in the games, but we're starting to see the trade-off play out right in front of our eyes with the biggest award, and I don't know how much appetite there's going to be for that to be a normal thing. So that takes us into Rookie of the Year, and this might be the most straightforward thing that we have on the board. Is there any chance that it isn't Cooper Flagg? Betting lines certainly don't think so. He's a crazy heavy favorite. Con Knipple might actually have a better statistical argument to make than the betting odds would lead you to believe, mostly due to his shooting efficiency, where he's flirting with his own 50-40-90 season at 48.5 43-90 shooting splits, but let's call it what it is. Cooper Flagg has a more all-around and also a defensive impact than what Con Knipple is doing, and at the end of the day, Cooper Flagg is a teenager being tasked with carrying an NBA team on his back, while Con Knipple is playing a supporting third option role for the Hornets. One of those narratives is going to hold way more weight with the voters come voting time. That takes us to the Sixth Man of the Year category. Naz Reid is the betting favorite for this, followed by Keldon Johnson and Jaime Jaquez, before you start getting into like silly odds plus 1100 type territory. And I'm going to tell you, I don't really get the Keldon Johnson case outside of the Spurs just being awesome, but his numbers just don't really stack up against the other two when you look at their impact specifically coming off the bench. Between Naz and Jaquez, they have numbers that are pretty similar to each other. Jaquez is leading the league in points off the bench, 1 point per game ahead of Naz Reid. Naz is the better shooter and the better rebounder, and Jaquez does more playmaking, so they sort of balance each other out on the offensive end. Between the two, though, I think you go with Naz, who does have more impact defensively, and he's doing it while the Wolves are doing more winning than the Heat are doing. But honestly, if I can just throw a wrench in the whole thing, I think a guy that should have a better shot than he does, at least by the odds standards is AJ Mitchell. He's come out of nowhere. His numbers are better than Keldon Johnson's, for example, on a better team, and the Thunder's net rating when he's coming off the bench is a landslide ahead of these other guys at plus 14 per 100 possessions. For comparison, Keldon Johnson is a plus 5. Jaquez and Naz Reid both plus 3. If I was just picking a guy, I think he's had more value off the bench than these other guys, and he'd be my personal choice. That said, he's missed a chunk of time heading into the All-Star break, and I don't think there's a clear timetable for his return, so I don't think he's going to make the game minimum, and I don't get a vote anyway. And I get why Naz Reid is the betting favorite at this point in time. It does all make sense. That gets us to the Most Improved Player award, and it seems like Deni Advia is sort of a shoo-in for this, and he's currently the betting favorite for it as well. He's averaging 25.5 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists. That's up from 17, 4, and 7 last year. His usage is up from 23 to 29%, and yet his true shooting has actually improved slightly to 61%, which, translation, he has the ball in his hands more. He's asked to carry more of the load. He's facilitating more and shooting more. And despite all the added volume and all the things I said more about, he's actually been more efficient. There's a reason he's the betting favorite for this. Nickeil Alexander-Walker in Atlanta has had a very unexpected jump in his play and in his role. I made a video before the year talking about how I liked the acquisition for the Hawks, but I wasn't sure how many minutes they'd actually have available to give him, and now I just look dumb. And shout out to Jalen Tyson from the Cavs. He has zero shot at winning this award, but he should at least be getting more love for it than he is, going from a guy who might not even be in the rotation coming into the year to a key starter who's still shooting 47% from 3, and that's not on low volume. But still, Deni Advia. Defensive Player of the Year. I think we're about to be 2 years in a row that someone else wins Defensive Player of the Year, because Wemby didn't meet the 65 game minimum. He's already missed 14, so to think he's going to make it through the whole stretch run without missing 4 more is probably unlikely. Now, I say that realizing that with the way they brought them back from his last injury, coming off the bench and putting him on that minutes restriction, he probably could have used some more time, but they wanted him to be eligible for awards if they could help it. But if he has any other issues, I doubt they're going to let him play through it just to take home some personal hardware when the team is sitting at 2 in the West and they have all intentions of making a playoff run. Whether you personally believe that they're ready for it, that's what they're going to be intending to do, and I think they'll prioritize that over Wemby getting a trophy if the decision has to be made. Last year, Evan Mobley was the beneficiary for this, so who would it be this year? And I think it's a fairly simple answer here again with Chet. Ironically, given how much these two guys don't like each other, they're pretty much 1-2 in this category this year. 2 blocks a game, more than a steal and a half. He's leading the league in defensive win shares. He anchors the best defense in basketball, and they are significantly better across the board when he's on the court. Their defensive rating gets 3 points better. Opponent's true shooting percentage. They force more turnovers. They clean up the glass better to finish it off. All of everything you want your defense to improve in when a guy is on the floor, it does when the Thunder have Chet on the floor. If Wemby's not eligible, it's Chet's award to lose. In fact, at last check, you could still actually get that at plus money if you wanted to bet against Wemby's eligibility. And that does it for the player awards we're going to do today, but I wanted to give some love to the coaching staffs and front offices because, quite frankly, I don't think anybody on YouTube does a ton of speculation about these awards, and I thought it'd be fun. So my initial reaction for Coach of the Year was Mitch Johnson for the insane jump that the Spurs have made from 13th last year to 2nd in the West right now. But man, I don't know how you don't reward JB Bickerstaff for what is happening in Detroit. They're not just holding the 1 seed as it stands, but there's no one else within like 5 games in the East. And the only team with a better record is the defending champions. They've got a top 10 offense, a top 2 defense, second behind OKC in both defense and net rating. They're top 6 in field goal percentage. They get to the line. They're 3rd in attempts, 7th in makes. They're top 7 in rebounds. They turn you over, leading the league in both steals and blocks per game. If there's a knock against this Pistons team, it's that they're not a good 3-point shooting team. So you wonder if they're going to hold up stylistically down the stretch. And Tankathon does have them with the 6th hardest remaining schedule for the rest of the season, when a team like the Cavs, who just added James Harden, has the 3rd easiest schedule down the stretch. The Knicks are on the easier half of the league in remaining schedule. The Celtics are still hoping to get Jason Tatum back at some point in time. He's practicing some now. All that is just hedging that maybe the Pistons won't have an easy road to hold on to the lead that it has in the East right now, but they've got a buffer, and that's not giving them enough credit for how crazy good they've been. Cade Cunningham will get MVP votes, and we're just 2 years removed from this team setting a record for longest losing streak in history. That is insane. So we'll wrap things up with the Executive of the Year, and this is my caveat for this award. I have no idea what voters actually care about when giving this award out. It's not one that I actually paid that much attention to every year, which is why I thought it'd be fun to think about it. So here's how I do think about it. Did you do something as a front office, either over the offseason or in season, that took strategic vision to pull off, and is your team better on the court for it? Here's some examples that have come to mind from this season. The Celtics' Brad Stevens being able to go from like the most expensive roster, crazy deep in the second apron, getting out of it completely. They're not even a first apron team right now, while they're navigating an injury to their best player and MVP candidate in Jason Tatum, and they're 2nd in the East. They just made a trade to bolster their front court with Nikola Vucevic, and that, to me, is impressive execution from the front office. That's the kind of thing that I would think would make you a front runner for an award like this. I think the Cavs' Kobe Altman is throwing his name in the ring right now, not only bringing in the biggest acquisition on the trade market in James Harden, but also the DeAndre Hunter deal, netting them Keon Ellis and Dennis Schroeder, could be really big. If they go on a significant run down the stretch, he could get some love for this award. And I think by default, you have to mention Sam Presti here for building the best team in the league, but I personally consider a lot of that past accomplishments. That said, scooping up a guy like Jared McCain from the Sixers, who were totally selling high on him, is a great piece of business for continuing to improve your team on the margins and keeping young talent in the building. As the Thunder stars grow and they become more expensive, you need to offset that with cheap young talent. And Jared McCain has shown promise, and he's got 2 team option years left on his rookie deal. If you can complain about anything the Thunder are doing, it's that they're dominant on defense, but their offense still stagnates at times, especially when SGA isn't on the floor. And last year, as a rookie, when he was healthy, he was scoring 15 a night while shooting 38% from 3 on 6 a night. The volume's down this year with the logjam that Philly had in the backcourt, but he's still just as efficient, and that is a weapon, especially playing off a guy like Shea. I also thought of the Nuggets in this category. I thought in the offseason that the moves that they made them contenders again, but I don't think you're really going to be able to judge them until the playoffs. You probably don't make the jump the Pistons have without the moves that they've made on the margins, but I think it's more internal growth, and they may have actually missed a real opportunity at the deadline to make kind of that next step swing. And also the Spurs' crazy leap feels more like a payoff from past accomplishments than returns from recent decisions made, but I felt like we should probably acknowledge again the fact that they have done some incredible winning this season. I'm just not sure how much I put on the front office for what they've done for me lately, but I don't know. Sam Presti probably wins this award by default, but some of these other guys have done good work and I think deserve consideration, and we should probably talk about this award more. And you can start in the comments section with this and your other award picks. Please subscribe to the channel to help me reach my goal, and if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and try out that one next.